The chains fall. The skies burn the day the Zarnathi came. They didn't send diplomats. No warnings, no ultimatums. Just fire. From orbit, their dreadnoughts rained molten rods into Earth cities, silencing defenses before anyone could react. Washington, D.C., Shanghai, Paris, gone in minutes. Nuclear silos melted in their silos. Satellites were blinded, militaries crushed, and command structure shattered. In 72 hours, Earth fell. Maya Trent was there when London broke. A former combat medic with the Royal Marines, she'd survived tours in war zones that made hell look gentle. But nothing compared to this. She'd been helping at a refugee shelter in the old underground when the sky lit up. Above ground, white-blue beams carved through the skyline like fingers through wet clay. Big Ben crumbled. Buckingham Palace disappeared in a flash of light and dust. The Zarnathi didn't speak Earth's languages. They didn't have to. Their message came through mass telepathic broadcast, felt like pressure in the back of the skull. You belong to the Zarnathi Empire. Your resistance is meaningless. Obedience ensures survival. Rebellion ensures extinction. Humans who surrendered were implanted with neural slave chips. The rest were executed. Maya ran. Through bombed tunnels and ash-choked alleys, she led a dozen survivors deep into the ruins of London. Soldiers, medics, students, anyone left breathing. In the shattered husk of a museum's underground vault, they found refuge. They had no weapons, no supplies, and no outside contact. But they had rage. Days passed. The Zarnathi began processing humans like livestock. Huge floating haulers moved through the streets, plucking survivors with tractor beams, tagging them, sorting them into camps. Maya watched from the shadows as a boy, couldn't have been older than 10, was torn from his mother. She screamed. A drone incinerated her mid-sentence. That was the day Maya stopped hiding. She scavenged old military caches, rigged explosives from chemical stores, and mapped patrol paths. Within a week, she'd formed the first resistance cell, 12 men and women who refused to kneel. They called themselves the Ember Pact because even in ashes, embers burn. Elsewhere, Earth broke in silence. In New York, human militias were crushed under the boots of armored walkers. In Cape Town, Zarnathi biocontrollers infected entire districts to control populations through pheromonal subjugation. The Galactic Council applauded this swift pacification of a primitive species. But in the frozen wreckage of an empire's newest prize, something stirred. One night, Maya scrawled a message on a wall near a destroyed Zarnathi drone. You conquered Earth, but you never broke us. The fire is coming. The spark ignites. Maya Trent ducked beneath the twisted ruins of what used to be Berlin's Central Transit Hub. The air smelled of ozone and scorched steel, and in the distance, alien haulers rumbled like thunder. She gripped her makeshift rifle, eyes scanning the street. Behind her, a team of 4 resistance fighters waited, dirty, exhausted, but determined. Their target loomed ahead, a Zarnathi control node. A towering black spire, it pulsed with cold energy. Inside, human minds were being rewritten, slave chips installed, personalities wiped, obedience encoded. We blow it, Maya whispered into her calm, and they lose control over half the region. The team moved like shadows. They weren't soldiers, they were survivors, a mechanic, a student, a firefighter. None had formal training, but all had one thing the Zarnathi didn't understand: purpose. They slipped past drones and patrols, planting charges along the support columns. At the last one, Maya found an overseer tending a console. Its eyes widened, mandibles twitching. It reached for its weapon, too slow. Maya fired. The plasma round punched clean through its skull. As the spire collapsed behind them in a blaze of alien fire, Maya held up the overseer's wrist console. Gift for Raphael, she said with a grim smile. Back in their mountain hideout, Rafael Ortega, once a quiet NASA engineer, now looked like a war-worn tactician. When Maya handed him the device, his eyes lit up. This is it, he said. Their encryption key. If I can crack this, we can listen to their chatter. Predict movements. Hijack drones. With the reluctant help of their captive Zarnathi defector, Tirvarek, Raphael worked through night after night. Tirvarek, once a scientist of the Empire, had begun to realize a dangerous truth. Humans learn too fast. You were meant to be laborers, Tirvarek muttered one night. Watching Raphael bypass a security protocol even seasoned Zarnathi struggled with. Yet you adapt. Evolve. You're not what we expected. Neither are you, Raphael replied. You still think we're fighting to survive. We're fighting to win. Within days, the Ember Pack transformed. They began intercepting patrol schedules, troop deployments, supply lines. Attacks were no longer desperate. They were calculated. Resistance cells, once isolated, now coordinated across continents. In Cairo, rebels seized a plasma tower and turned it against their oppressors. In Sao Paulo, workers sabotaged haulers, sending them crashing into Zarnathi barracks. Commander Veltar responded with brutal efficiency. For every attack, 10 villages were razed, thousands executed. But it wasn't enough. Each massacre only hardened humanity's resolve. Each burned town became a rallying cry. And each act of cruelty made one thing clearer. The Zarnathi had no idea what they'd awakened. From the ashes of Earth's defeat, rebellion spread like wildfire. Not just resistance, but war. Guerrilla. Focused. Furious. In a darkened tunnel under the Alps, Maya stared at a growing wall of names. Those who had died, those still fighting. They think we're broken, she said. Raphael looked up from the console, eyes blazing. Let's show them how dangerous broken things can be. The iron grows hot. The desert wind howled across the empty Kazakh plains, stirring ash and sand around the rusted remains of a long-forgotten launch facility. Deep underground, Maya Trent stood in front of a makeshift holographic display, lit by flickering power cells. Her voice cut through the gloom like steel. This is it. Operation Emberstorm launches tonight. No more hiding. Across the globe, resistance cells were waiting. In jungles, in subways, in Arctic bunkers, each had received the same message. Strike as one. Shatter the chains. Take Earth back. The turning point came when Rafael Ortega, now grizzled, sleep-deprived, but sharper than ever, finished retrofitting the alien console Maya had stolen weeks before. With Tirvarek's reluctant help, they'd cracked the local Zarnathi command grid. Now they could do more than listen. They could manipulate. We'll blind their patrols, scramble their transport routes, and trigger emergency lockdowns in their own bases, Raphael said, fingers flying over a hybrid interface of human plastic and alien crystal. They'll be deaf and blind while we burn their world behind them. While the Ember Pack prepared its strike, Tirvarek stood silently beside them. He watched Earth's scattered armies coalesce into a storm, untrained, underarmed, but fueled by rage, ingenuity, and something the Zarnathi couldn't manufacture. Hope. They will never forgive this, Tirvarek warned. The Empire will send everything once they realize what you've done. Maya didn't flinch. Let them come. On the night of the offensive, Earth roared. In Los Angeles, resistance fighters detonated buried fuel lines under an overseer barracks, sending firestorms down the coastline. In Tokyo, engineers hijacked a crawler mech and walked it straight into a control tower. Cairo's rebels seized an orbital uplink and broadcast a single message across the stars. We are not slaves. We are the storm. The Zarnathi staggered under the pressure. Their war machines, once terrifying, fell to coordinated ambushes and reprogrammed drone swarms. Zarnathi dreadnoughts in orbit were bombarded by debris volleys launched from automated rail cannons. Old Cold War tech made new with human stubbornness. And then came the first real victory. From the buried Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, Raphael and a small team launched Ragnarok 1, a salvaged orbital cannon platform built from gutted space junk and raw will. It lanced upward, dodging alien fire through sheer unpredictability. It struck. One Zarnathi dreadnought, the wrath of Izerva, was torn in half by the beam, its pieces scattering into Earth's atmosphere in burning fragments. The planet watched. In underground camps, in alien prisons, in ruins across the globe, humans saw the impossible become real. They weren't just surviving. They were winning. Commander Veltar, watching from his Antarctic stronghold, screamed as the burning wreckage of his fleet rained down. They were insects, he hissed. They were cattle, but insects learn, and cattle, when cornered, charge. The Empire burns. The battle for Earth reached its final hour in the most desolate place on the planet, Antarctica. Beneath sheets of ice, the Zarnathi had carved a fortress into the continent. Command center, cloning vats, orbital uplink, and Veltar's throne. It was here the invaders believed they'd be safe. But the Ember Pact had other plans. Maya Trent stood atop a stolen Zarnathi skimmer, wind whipping through her hair as the final assault began. All around her, patched together human armor clanked and hummed. Soldiers carrying rail rifles, energy blades, and salvaged drone armor. Behind her, Rafael Ortega coordinated strikes from the control carrier they'd built inside an old icebreaker ship. "This is it," Maya said over comms. "Not just for Earth. This is for every enslaved world watching." And they were watching. Coded transmissions sent from Cairo's broadcast towers had reached deep space. All across the Empire, in mining colonies and breeding camps, billions were listening. Earth's uprising had lit a galaxy on fire. As the resistance charged the fortress, anti-grav turrets opened up. Zarnathi warriors, bred for war and towering over humans, surged forward. But they met a storm of defiance. Homemade EMP bombs, nanite disruptors hacked from captured drones, and humans who refused to fall. The battle raged for hours. Maya breached the inner command core with a team of 4. The walls pulsed with alien glyphs, slick with condensation from the geothermal systems below. There, sitting on his levitating obsidian throne, was Commander Veltar, armored in gold and fury. "You are vermin," he growled. "I gave your species structure, order, purpose." Maya raised her rifle, then lowered it. "You gave us chains, and a reason to fight." Veltar struck first, moving with impossible speed. But Maya wasn't alone. Raphael's pulse drone intercepted the strike. Tirvarek, now fully defected, used his authority codes to disable the force fields. And Maya, wielding a plasma blade salvaged from a fallen overseer, drove it through Veltar's chest. The commander slumped to the floor, his last breath a hiss of disbelief. "You were supposed to break." Maya looked him in the eyes. "You made us unbreakable." Outside, the fortress began to collapse. Raphael activated the self-destruct they'd planted in the core. The resistance escaped aboard the skimmers, streaking into the pale sky as fire blossomed behind them. That day, Earth was free. In the days that followed, human broadcasts were picked up across the stars. Images of destroyed dreadnoughts, of liberated cities, of the words etched into the smoking ruins of the Zarnathi command. Earth stood, and Earth won. One by one, alien worlds began rising. The Galactic Council, once indifferent, now watched with unease. The humans weren't just survivors. They were revolutionaries. And as Maya looked up at the stars, she spoke the words the galaxy would never forget. They enslaved Earth. That was their last mistake.